Today, we delve into the baffling stories of 5 American tourists who are still missing in 2024. These travelers set out on what should have been memorable vacations, but instead, they vanished without a trace. We'll examine their final known activities, the efforts to find them, and the enduring mysteries surrounding their disappearances. It was March 21, 1998. Amy Lynn Bradley, a 23-year-old recent graduate from Petersburg, Virginia, was on a Caribbean cruise with her family aboard Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas. Excited about her trip, Amy was eager to pick up her newly adopted bulldog Daisy and start her new job after moving into a new apartment. The ship left San Juan, Puerto Rico, heading to Aruba and then to Curaçao, Netherlands, Antilles. On the night of March 23rd, Amy went to the ship's disco with her brother Brad and other passengers and crew. They enjoyed dancing and socializing. Around 1 a.m., Brad saw Amy for the last time before they went their separate ways. At about 5:30 a.m. on March 24th, Amy's father, Ron Bradley, saw her asleep on their cabin's balcony. When he woke up again around 6 a.m., Amy was gone, but her shoes were left behind while her lighter and cigarettes were missing. Alarmed, Ron searched the ship but found no trace of Amy. Ron then woke his wife, Iva, and their son, Brad, and they contacted the ship's crew. Despite their urgent request to make an announcement and prevent anyone from leaving the ship, the gangway was lowered, and passengers disembarked in Curaçao. An announcement about Amy's disappearance was finally made at 7:50 a.m., but by then, many passengers had already left the ship. The crew searched common areas but didn't thoroughly check passenger and staff rooms, leaving the Bradley family devastated and frustrated. Over the next 5 days, Royal Caribbean staff and the Netherlands Antilles Coast Guard searched the ship and nearby waters, but no trace of Amy was found. Despite being a strong swimmer and trained lifeguard, it was unlikely she had fallen overboard and drowned close to shore. The search ended on March 29th, and Amy was declared dead 12 years later, though her body was never found. Amy Lynn Bradley's case remains a perplexing mystery. Numerous rumors and alleged sightings have surfaced over the years but remain unconfirmed. Some passengers claim to have seen a woman matching Amy's description heading to the top deck on the morning of March 24th, while others saw her with an unidentified ship employee. Amy's mother, Iva, recalled crew members showing unusual attention towards Amy during the cruise. One crew member even offered to take Amy to a restaurant in Aruba, which made her uncomfortable. Additionally, photos of Amy taken by the ship's photographer had vanished the night before she disappeared. In 1999, a U.S. Navy sailor reported seeing a woman in a Curaçao brothel who claimed to be Amy Bradley, saying she was being held against her will. The sailor didn't report the sighting immediately due to fear of disciplinary action for being in a brothel. He came forward after retiring and seeing Amy's photo in a magazine. In 2005, a woman named Judy Maurer claimed to have seen Amy in a department store bathroom in Barbados. Amy was allegedly with 3 men who threatened her before dragging her away. Maurer said Amy told her she was from Virginia. One of the most compelling alleged sightings occurred in 2005, when the Bradleys received an email with photos of a lingerie-clad woman named Jazz, posted on a website advertising all-inclusive erotic vacations in the Caribbean. The woman looked strikingly like Amy. An independent forensics expert confirmed the photo was a perfect match for Amy. Despite these potential leads, Amy Lynn Bradley's whereabouts remain unknown. The FBI offers a reward of up to $25,000 for information leading to her recovery and the identification, arrest, and conviction of those responsible for her disappearance. Age-progressed photos of what Amy might look like today have been released. Amy is described as a white woman with short brown hair, green eyes, weighing 120 pounds, and standing 5 feet 6 inches tall. She has several distinctive tattoos: a Tasmanian devil spinning a basketball on her shoulder, the sun on her lower back, a Chinese symbol on her right ankle, and a gecko on her navel. She also has a navel ring. As the years pass, the mystery of Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance continues to puzzle investigators and haunt her family. The case remains open, and the search for answers continues. It was January 11, 2008, in Oyster Pond, St. Martin. Lita Lynn Cordes, a 49-year-old woman from Orange County, California, had recently arrived on the Caribbean island with her husband, Frank Cordes. They were staying at their new vacation home, celebrating a fresh start and hoping to mend their strained marriage. Lita was known for her lively personality, making her sudden disappearance even more shocking. After hosting a housewarming party, Lita and Frank continued socializing with friends. Frank's mother had arrived from Germany, adding to the celebration. Around 9:30 p.m., heavily intoxicated from alcohol and prescription pills, Lita fell asleep in the back seat of their car. A neighbor was the last independent witness to see her there. Frank claimed that Lita woke up later and wanted to go gambling at the nearby Westin Resort Casino. He refused to give her the car keys due to her intoxication, so she allegedly left on foot with some cash. Frank said he waited a few minutes before driving after her to check on her, but when he didn't find her on the road, he assumed she had arrived safely at the casino. However, Lita never made it to the casino and never returned home. As soon as Lita was reported missing, her friends and family were deeply worried. They couldn't believe she would disappear without a trace. Frank's account was immediately met with skepticism. Lita's friends, Carrie Honstein and Elaine Karras, flew to St. Martin 48 hours after hearing the news and noticed inconsistencies in Frank's stories. They found it unlikely that Lita, who was afraid of driving in St. Martin, would have asked for the car keys or walked alone to the casino at night. Lita was described as a caring and fun-loving person with a wide circle of friends. However, recent years had been difficult for her. She had experienced emotional turmoil, including the loss of 2 brothers and her mother's declining health. These events led her to self-medicate with prescription drugs and alcohol. Her friends believed the lack of emotional support from Frank was worsening her drinking problem. On the night of her disappearance, Lita had a heated argument with Frank about money for the casino. Earlier that day, they had fought on Grand Case Beach, where Lita threatened to seek a divorce and claim half their wealth. She even called her friend Bobby Hargis at 10:30 p.m. to talk about her problems. Bobby was a younger man with whom Lita had an affair, adding further strain to her marriage with Frank. The couple's relationship was complicated and tense. Lita had suggested that Frank have a fling with her friend Elaine to balance the score after he found out about her affair with Bobby. This bizarre suggestion only added to their marital issues. Despite these tensions, they had hoped their new home in St. Martin would help repair their relationship. As the investigation into Lita's disappearance progressed, Frank's behavior raised suspicions. He appeared detached and unemotional, which was not typical of a worried spouse. Friends and investigators alike found his demeanor suspicious. Despite thorough searches and international cooperation, no physical evidence was found to indicate what happened to Lita. Surveillance cameras at the casino confirmed she never arrived there that night. In mid-October 2008, 9 months after Lita vanished, Frank was arrested and held in pretrial detention for over 3 months. However, due to a lack of concrete evidence, he was released. He remains a suspect in his wife's disappearance, but the case is still unsolved. Friends and family, including Lita's only son, Rory Bryant, have conducted multiple searches on the island with the help of authorities, cadaver dogs, and local volunteers. Despite their efforts, no trace of Lita has ever been found. Lita's disappearance profoundly impacted her friends and family. Her mother, Modena McClendon, who suffered from Alzheimer's disease, was moved to a state hospital 5 months after Lita went missing due to the lack of available care. Modena passed away alone at the California State Hospital on March 6, 2009, without ever knowing what happened to her daughter. The search for Lita continued for years, with her friends organizing extensive searches and even involving television crews from NBC's Dateline and CBS's 48 Hours. Despite multiple hints from cadaver dogs and thorough searches around Legallion Beach and other areas, no substantial evidence was found. Friends hoped to at least find her body and give her a proper burial, but their hopes were continually dashed. Elaine Karras and Carrie Honstein were particularly determined to find answers. They had known Lita for years and felt a deep responsibility to uncover the truth. They believed the prosecutor's office was right to be cautious about taking the case to court with only circumstantial evidence. They didn't want the police or prosecutors to risk the case and hoped that more evidence would eventually be found. Key points of suspicion included Frank's behavior and inconsistencies in his stories. For instance, he claimed that Lita had driven on St. Martin, which her friends denied. They also doubted that she would walk to the casino late at night, given her fear of walking alone in the dark. These discrepancies, along with his detached demeanor, led them to believe he had something to do with her disappearance. It was August 9, 2009, in Chicago, Illinois. David Gimmelfarb, a 28-year-old PhD student from the Adler School of Professional Psychology, eagerly awaited his vacation. He flew out of O'Hare Airport heading for Costa Rica. David, an experienced traveler and hiker, planned to explore the Rincón de la Vieja National Park and stayed at the Hotel Chachipilin in Liberia, Guanacaste Province. On August 10th, David emailed and spoke to his parents, mentioning his visit to the national park and promising daily calls. The next day, when his parents didn't hear from him, they grew worried. On August the 11th, they contacted the hotel. The following day, the hotel staff informed them that David's rented white Hyundai Tucson was found locked in the park's parking lot. The date and time stamp for admission to the park was August 10th. The park, spanning 35,000 acres of volcanic jungle terrain, made the search for David difficult. Despite an extensive search involving local officials, volunteers, the Red Cross, and 2 U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopters, no trace of David was found. His parents, Roma and Luda Gimmelfarb, traveled to Costa Rica on August 13th to assist with the investigation. David, known to be an experienced hiker and traveler, had previously gone skiing in Colorado and traveled alone to Israel. At the time of his disappearance, he lived in the Buena Park neighborhood of Chicago. The Highland Park, Illinois, police investigated his case as his parents lived there. The Charlie Project also profiled his case due to his American citizenship. David's cell phone and passport were found in his hotel room, but his orange, gray, and black North Face backpack was missing. It might have contained a water bottle, power bars, a camera, and a travel book on Costa Rica. He also had the keys to his apartment in Chicago, his rental car keys, his wallet, and a copy of his passport with him. Some witnesses reported seeing David at the hotel bar later that afternoon, while others said he left the hotel in his car and was not seen again. Several sightings of David were reported in Costa Rica. The most recent, in mid-February 2010, involved a man fitting David's description who walked into a Coast Guard station. The man, appearing disheveled with an overgrown beard and long hair, seemed dazed and confused. By the time law enforcement contacted David's parents, he had left. This sighting is considered the most credible. His family believes he is alive but possibly suffering from illness or amnesia. David's parents have been relentless in their search. They have spent a significant portion of their retirement fund trying to find him. Over the years, they faced challenges, including being cheated and extorted. After offering a $100,000 reward for information about David's disappearance, they received menacing calls from someone claiming David had been kidnapped. The caller even sent a dark photo of a man holding a current edition of a Costa Rican newspaper. Investigators later traced the call to Costa Rica's La Reforma prison. Roma and Luda Gimmelfarb have made annual trips to Costa Rica since David's disappearance, except for 1 year when Roma was recovering from surgery. They meet with the U.S. Embassy, Costa Rican authorities, and people with knowledge of the case. They hope to establish a foundation to help U.S. families searching for loved ones who have disappeared in Costa Rica and elsewhere. Their search has been particularly difficult because they don't speak Spanish and had never been to Costa Rica before David's disappearance. In their search for answers, David's parents have hired a private investigator. The investigator found no activity on David's credit cards after he went missing. The Costa Rican Judicial Investigation Organization handled the case but closed it in November 2009 as there was no evidence of foul play or a crime. One glimmer of hope came when a psychic contacted the U.S. Embassy, claiming to know where David's remains were. The psychic took U.S. Embassy staff to a river in Guanacaste, where they searched but found nothing. Another hopeful moment came when David's parents received a tip suggesting David might have received treatment at the National Psychiatric Hospital in Pavas. However, an OIJ representative found no one matching David's description at the facility. David's disappearance has left his family in perpetual uncertainty. They believe someone knows what happened to their son. They continue to offer a $100,000 reward for information leading to David's discovery and pledge to repeat their annual trip to Costa Rica until they are too old to travel. It was August 2nd, 2011, in Aruba, known for its beaches and clear waters. Robin Gardner, a 35-year-old from Maryland, was on vacation with Gary Giordano, a 50-year-old businessman she met online. They had known each other for about a year and decided to take this trip together. However, this vacation took a dark turn, leaving Robin's family and friends in shock. Robin lived with her boyfriend Richard Forrester in Maryland. She told him she was going to Orlando with her parents, but she was actually in Aruba with Gary. Their relationship was a mess, and Robin wanted to clear her head. She had recently lost her job as a patient coordinator at a dental office and thought a trip might help her feel better. On the day she disappeared, Robin and Gary were seen leaving the Rum Reef Bar and Grill at Baby Beach around 4 p.m. She seemed woozy and barely touched her salad. Less than 2 hours later, Gary returned to the restaurant, shirtless and with his toupee still in place, reporting that Robin had gone missing while they were snorkeling. Gary claimed a strong current swept Robin out to sea, and he lost sight of her. He went to the restaurant for help but didn't re-enter the water to search for her, raising questions. Authorities quickly detained Gary, finding inconsistencies in his story. He had a scratch on his neck and was sweating profusely. Despite extensive searches by over 60 officials, FBI agents, Aruba riot cops, and volunteers, no trace of Robin was found. Gary's behavior raised further suspicions. Just before the trip, he had taken out a $1.5 million accidental death insurance policy on Robin, naming himself as the beneficiary. Friends said that Gary and Robin met on a swingers website, and Gary had been interested in taking her on trips before, but she'd always declined. After losing her job, she accepted his offer for a free trip to Aruba. During the investigation, surveillance footage showed the couple at the restaurant around the time Robin vanished. Witnesses said they appeared to be in a romantic relationship, and Robin referred to Gary as her husband to the server. Authorities also discovered graphic photographs on Gary's digital camera, described as beyond obscene. It was unclear when these photos were taken or if Robin was aware of them. Gary was arrested on August 5th, 3 days after reporting Robin missing, as he attempted to leave the country. He was detained for nearly 4 months on suspicion of murder, manslaughter, kidnapping, and fraud. However, due to insufficient evidence, he was never charged and was eventually released. Gary returned to the United States, facing public scrutiny and suspicion. In the years following Robin's disappearance, Gary continued to claim his innocence. He wrote a self-published book detailing his experiences and the media attention he received, hoping to clear his name. He appeared on television shows like Dr. Phil, insisting that Robin had drowned in a tragic accident. He also considered suing the Aruban government for detaining him without justifiable cause. Robin's family, particularly her sister, Danielle Colson Unglesby, remained skeptical of Gary's story. Danielle described her sister as a loving and wonderful person and believed something sinister had happened to her. She never believed Gary's account and felt that the insurance policy was a clear motive for foul play. Robin's boyfriend, Richard Forrester, also expressed doubts about Gary's story. He noted that Robin was an excellent swimmer and would never have gone snorkeling in deep waters because she wouldn't want to mess up her hair. He also suspected that Robin's disappearance could be related to human trafficking, given the circumstances and Gary's suspicious behavior. It was July 6, 2016, in Hallstatt, Austria. Sister Eileen Christie, a 72-year-old nun from the Sisters of St. Joseph of Brentwood, New York, arrived at Haus Jodler, a charming hostel in the village. Eileen was traveling alone through Austria, Croatia, and northern Italy. For 30 summers, she enjoyed the freedom to explore on her own. Her last email to her nephew, William Freda, came on July 6th, stating she had arrived safely at Haus Jodler. When 3 days passed without any word from her, William grew concerned. According to her itinerary, she was supposed to stay in Hallstatt until July 9th and then head to Innsbruck. On July 11th, when William called the hostel in Innsbruck, they informed him she never checked in. Alarmed, he contacted Haus Jodler, where the innkeeper revealed that Eileen hadn't been seen since the day she arrived. Eileen's disappearance shocked her community back in New York. The Sisters of St. Joseph held a prayer service for her at St. Anthony of Padua Church in East Northport, attended by over 200 people. Bishop William Murphy of Rockport, Long Island, reached out to Austrian Nuncio Archbishop Peter Stephan Zurbriggen to expedite the search. Despite these efforts, hope for Eileen's safe return dwindled. In Austria, the search for Sister Eileen was extensive. Local police, special forces, and K-9 units searched around Lake Hallstatt, a popular site for swimming and hiking. Divers from Austria's Special Forces Unit, Einsatzkommando Cobra, used submersible cameras to search the lake. Search dogs picked up her scent near the lake, suggesting she might have gone swimming. However, none of her personal belongings, except for her bathing suit, were missing from her room, leading authorities to consider the possibility of drowning. Her nephew, William Freda, was frustrated with the response from both Austrian and American authorities. He felt the U.S. Embassy in Vienna and the local police were not doing enough. The American embassy cited a hands-off policy regarding local investigations, and the local police refused to post the missing person flyer William had prepared. The lack of information and investigative direction was troubling. It was out of character for Eileen not to communicate with her loved ones. William speculated she might have had a hiking accident or encountered foul play. The area's rugged terrain with deep lakes, high mountains, and dense forests made the search difficult and uncertain. The family's concerns grew as days turned into weeks without any sign of Eileen. They offered a €15,000 reward for information leading to her safe return, hoping someone might come forward. Her photo circulated in local media, and the police continued their search, but no substantial leads emerged. As the search continued, authorities focused on Lake Hallstatt. Detective Gerhard Weichselbaum, the case's lead investigator, explained that the region's challenging terrain made the search difficult. The lake's depth, up to 125 meters, required specialized equipment and divers to investigate. Despite these efforts, no conclusive evidence was found. Throughout this ordeal, the Sisters of St. Joseph, Eileen's family and friends held on to the belief she might still be alive. They hoped she was hiking somewhere, enjoying the natural beauty she loved. But as the days turned into weeks, the reality of the situation began to sink in. The U.S. Department of State remained involved, emphasizing the importance of protecting U.S. citizens abroad. They assured the family they were working closely with local authorities, although privacy considerations limited the information they could share publicly.